I think that Robyn definitely has a victim complex. I don't necessarily blame her for that. I think that different people devise different strategies to keep themselves afloat.
I have to give Janelle credit because she's always raised her children to be able to self-advocate. Her children are able to speak their mind intellectually, not just, bringing up silly stuff like, oh, so and so was horrible to me. They actually give a coherent sentence that's evidence-based to support their argument as to why they can't stand someone. And for Meri, it's about time. It's about time she fully untangled herself from this man. And I hope it's now time. If I was a lawyer, I would be offering my services for free to take this man to the cleaners so that she can get what she's owed. And Robyn, please, can you stop? You're nobody's victim. Please stop. It's time. Anyway, hey there, thanks for stopping by. It's Valerie. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, don't forget to click the like button, subscribe, turn on the notification bell for when I upload new videos, and definitely leave a comment. In this episode, I'll be reviewing Sister Wives, Season 19, Episode 5. So you have Kody and Robyn go up to Utah to meet up with Mykelti and Tony and meet the twins. And Kody sort of, when, she gave birth, Robyn came down, I had to stay behind and look after the two children and take them to school. And it's like, Kody, you've got 18 children. Some of your children are complaining that you never had time for them, but you have the time to stay behind and take your last two children to school. That doesn't make sense. When Isabel needed major surgery, you were nowhere to be found because you were preventing yourself from getting COVID. Suddenly, you're this loving dad. His relationship with his children comes across as transactional to me. The rest of his children, not his children with Robyn, but the other children. I think with Robyn there for 3+. So with these other 13 children, it sounds like his relationship is transactional. If you like me, if you do what I want, if you appreciate my wife and you like my wife, then I'll do everything for you. And so he goes to see the twins, Mykelti. They're having a conversation. He says he loves his children and his grandchildren, and he wants to get a big house so that Tony and Mykelti can move down and live with him. And it's like, this is one of the reasons why your marriages fell apart, because Christine didn't want to live in one big house. And yet suddenly, Sherlock Holmes, you've come up with the same idea that you want to buy this massive house so that, your children can come back and be with you. Why don't you mend your relationships with your children first before you can do anything else? And why don't you stop bad-mouthing your other children? Christina was saying, Mykelti knows how to ask for what she wants. That's why she gets along with Robyn. No, I think they have a bond with Robyn because she lived with Robyn and looked after Robyn's children. And as she's grown, she's continued to sort of nurture that relationship. And because she's nurtured that relationship, that's why she has a bond with Kody. If she were to suddenly turn on Robyn, her relationship with Kody would be out the window. So whether she knows how to ask for what she wants or not, that wouldn't happen. They do talk about eating placentas and stuff. I know some people do it. I don't know about that. I don't want to encourage it. I don't want to discourage it. I haven't researched it, so to each their own. That's my policy in life. They also talk about breastfeeding and the fact that, mothers used to share breastfeeding and stuff. Everybody else is saying no, or we only did it as a necessity. And Robyn is saying yes, or even though, she grew up in polygamy and only sort of got married into polygamy in later life. So I don't know. I don't know how genuine that is. I don't know how long that relationship with Mykelti and Kody and Robyn will last, because I think I saw somewhere recently where it said that relationship has fallen apart. Apparently they're no longer in good books, and it's like, it was going to happen with time. It was going to happen because Mykelti can't continue to make excuses for the way her dad talks about his other children to the rest of her siblings forever. Everybody else is going to end up, she's going to either have to choose a side, either be with her siblings and her moms or stay with her dad. And I think with time she's going to have to go with the rest of the family, because she can't continue to defend Kody in everything that he says about the rest of his children. So you have Christine talking about her second date with David. You can tell Christine, I think, Kody was her first relationship and this is her second relationship. And you can tell that she is someone who's experiencing true love for the first time because of how giddy she is. She spoke about how, on their second date, they weren't physically intimate at all. There was no hand. Well, he held her hand, but there was no kissing. She spoke to him about the fact that she had been in a polygamous marriage and she grew up in polygamy. And he said 2 of his sisters were married into polygamy, so he knew what it was, but he didn't plan on practicing it. So to hear her sort of appreciate this about this man and really be giddy. I remember once she said that, now she understands how Kody felt when he met Robyn, because through her experience with David, she's able to appreciate that, because she's able to appreciate how it feels to be in love and how it feels to have someone who's crazy about you. So I really love that for her. I really am happy that, she's getting to move on, because I think she went through a lot of pain, especially with Kody saying that, she forced herself onto him. She brought herself into the family. He never asked her to be a part of the family, but she brought herself into the family. He never loved her. So to have someone who truly loves her, to have someone who makes her feel appreciated, valued, worthy, I think is something that's very important for her. So I'm so happy for her that she gets to experience this, and hopefully she'll move on. And we all know she's now married to David. I think they celebrated their 1-year anniversary recently. So I really love that for her, and I'm really happy for her, because everybody deserves to be loved. I really liked the conversation between Gabrielle and Janelle. One thing I've noticed is with Kody's children, I feel like, this is just my opinion from the outside looking in, I feel like Janelle gave Kody some of the most highly intelligent children, including Leon. I think the 7 of them are Kody's most highly intelligent children. And so this is why they have zero tolerance for stupid. That's just my opinion. This is why they don't tolerate their father's silly moments. Christine's children, I'm not too sure. I know McKelty, they said she was highly intelligent at one time, but the rest of the girls, I really haven't heard anything about their level of intellect. And I think Janelle raised her children to be self-advocates and to be rational thinkers. So you see in how they process information is totally different. Even if you look at Leon, the way that Leon processes information, from the moment Leon came out to the dad, I don't think we've ever seen Leon back on the show again. I might be mistaken, but very rarely. I know the time they moved to Flagstaff and stayed with Meri for a bit, and then that was the last time we saw them. I think, I don't remember. I might be mistaken. And so, am I surprised with this conversation? No, this is more in line with Janelle's children. I think even if you sat down with the late Garrison, Savannah, Hunter, Logan, even Maddie, this would be their train of thought, because their mother is very intelligent and she's sort of passed this down to her children. Because his thing is, I don't want to waste my time with this man if he's not going to be a present dad. I grew up with a present dad. If he's not going to go back to that, then I don't want anything to do with him. He can keep moving. Apparently, he sent him a message to say, I forgive you and I hope you can forgive me. And it's like, don't be patronizing. Don't try and make it seem like just because you feel you're in a better space and you've moved on, I should move on. I'm not going to move on until I'm good and ready. You offended me. The least you can do is sit down and have a conversation before we agree that we've forgiven each other. And so I get where Gabrielle is coming from. And also, it seems he was telling his children that he should have waited. He refuses to say, no, I didn't make my children believe this. I don't know where that came from. It's just a rumor that you said you'd never loved their mothers. You said Robyn is the only woman you've loved. You've treated Robyn as your priority woman. So why are you surprised that that's what everybody else thinks? And at the end of the day, the children are right to say Kody married his three wives, lived happily with his 3 wives, regardless of the issues that they were having, which is normal for when you have a household with more than 2 adults, with more than 1 adult, let alone 2 adults. 4 adults is even worse. So I think moving to Vegas, Robyn gave him the lifestyle that he always wanted. He apparently, I think he fell in love with Robyn before he brought her into the family. Brought her into the family, had this idea of what it would look like, went to Vegas, got to live the life every time he went to Robyn's house, and decided to disentangle himself from the rest of his wives. Because yes, he had issues in Utah with his wives, but when they got to Vegas, he decided to untangle himself. He started to sort of enlarge the problems that he had. He started to make mountains out of molehills until he and Christine were at this space whereby they were sort of separated or nearly separated, he started to disentangle himself from Meri legally by getting a divorce from her. And then with Janelle, I think he's always wanted to keep Janelle around because she was the moneymaker, she was the breadwinner. I continue to say this. If Janelle had not been the breadwinner, if Janelle had not had the most sons, Kody would have treated her the way he treated Christine and Meri. That's my opinion. But because he's always afraid, especially of people like Hunter, because of Hunter, how he reacted when they moved to Vegas. Now that he's an adult, I think Kody tries and avoids. He never brings Hunter's name up. No matter how mad he is, I've noticed he's never said anything bad about Hunter because I think he knows that Hunter don't play those games. Logan is quiet, but I think he still doesn't play those games. So, to hear that he's at this point with Garrison, it's a pity because I think out of Janelle's children, Garrison and Savannah seem to be the more understanding ones. The others are no nonsense. Sadly for Kody, his biggest mistake was upsetting the last two people that would have stood by him amongst his children in Janelle's household. So the moment he lost Savannah and the moment he lost Gabrielle, that was it. The other four don't want anything to do with him. Sorry, the other three with the late Garrison don't want anything to do with him. And with Janelle and Meri seeing the light and being prepared to move on, that is done for him. And it's going to take a lot for him to mend those bridges in order for him to come back and say, okay, let's form a family. Because him sending a message to say, I forgive you, I hope you can forgive me, is not going to resolve anything. He's told his children, I never loved your mothers. He's told his children, I have to prioritize this wife because she's more obedient. So what does he expect them to think? No matter how he sits on TV and says, oh, it's just a gossip amongst the family, his attitude and his words have implied that he wishes he would have waited for Robyn. Had he waited for Robyn, he would have been the happiest man alive. He shouldn't have married the other three because he didn't love them. And so it was a waste of time. It's really sad and a happy moment watching Meri because Meri says she's finally got in touch with the church and she's got a release from the church, which means she has nothing binding her to Kody. She is fully released from that commitment. And for me, I see it multiple ways. I think this is a good moment. I think Meri has got evidence on the show, if she decides to take this man to the cleaners, to say that she divorced him, not because she wanted to divorce him, but because he wanted to adopt Robyn's children. This was always the belief. And she's got evidence to show that he abandoned her for years and led her on to believe that there was going to be a marriage when he knew he was done with her, before he even asked her for a legal divorce. And now having the church say they are divorced spiritually, I hope this works in her favor. She says she doesn't want to be the bitter ex-wife, but I think she should take him to the cleaners. She should get what she's entitled, what she's owed, because she's put a lot into this family. She brought in someone who then turned around and was her worst enemy and caused the breakdown of not only her marriage, but marriages of everybody else in the family. And for Kody to pretend to play victim and say, oh, this is not a big deal because I had moved on a long time. Robyn, he threw Robyn under the bus because he said Robyn was encouraging me to wait for spiritual guidance, and when I didn't get spiritual guidance, I then decided it was enough. And Robyn is sitting there saying, oh, Kody, he was very heartbroken about, the divorce from Meri because he has cried. And he says it's not a big deal. And it's like the two of you need to sit down and have a conversation before you come on camera, because you're constantly contradicting each other. You're walking contradictions. And Meri is right to say, I remember saying this a couple of reviews ago, that Kody was waiting for Meri to leave. And Meri wouldn't leave. And I'm happy she didn't leave until he told her she was done. Because after the catfishing incident, he sat there and played victim and then waited and did everything within his power for Meri to leave. And Meri didn't leave. And he wanted to use this as an excuse to say, oh, well, this is not the first time she's tried to leave me. She tried when she was catfished, and this is the second time. Nobody. If you didn't want her anymore, you should have stood up and told her, I'm sorry, we're done. Let's keep it moving. And he is guilty of that, and he deserves to give her what she's entitled to. I hope she's entitled to something more than the 2 acres that he wants to give on Coyote Pass, given she's been with him for 33 years, long before he married anybody else. And the fact that he waited until she was 19 and married and then turns around and says, I didn't love her. There's all this evidence on camera to say you loved your wife. There's all this evidence. Why do you always have to be an idiot and always come up with silly excuses as to why you didn't love your wife? Why do you have to do that? I don't get it. And I'm happy that the ex-wives are happy for her. that she's left. They are happy that she's left. They say it's about time, because everybody sat there and watched her be treated badly by Kody, and they haven't been able to do anything, because you can only tell someone to leave when they're ready to leave. Meri for years sat and waited, and when she was good and ready, she packed her bags and she left him. And I'm happy she did, because she deserves happiness. For Robyn to say, oh, I hope Meri can continue to be friends with Kody and she can continue to be friends. No, you don't, my love. No, you don't. You're worried that Meri is going to go to court and say, I was legally married to this man and I deserve my share. And that's going to take away from what you feel you're owed by Kody. That's what you're worried about, not the fact that she's divorced him. Why should she want to continue to have a relationship with you and her ex-husband? Are you still friends with your ex-husband? Make that make sense? Oh, I really love the conversation between Janelle and Gabrielle, because they're still talking about the fact that, where they stand in regards to their relationships with Kody and Robyn. And you have Gabrielle sort of saying that he is at peace with not having a relationship with his dad or his stepmom, because at the end of the day, he feels like his dad has chosen a side and he will never be able to sort of see straight because of the side that is taken. Yes, he misses his siblings from, Robyn's children, but that's all it is. He doesn't feel like, he can mend that bridge with his dad. He wishes there was a way to mend the relationship with his siblings, but he knows that they have to toe a party line in the sense that they have to go by what their parents want. And if their parents are saying, these people are not safe for you, these people did ABCD, then they're not going to want a relationship with Gabrielle or any of the other children that are not part of their immediate family, part of the core five. And so it's really sad. It really is sad that this is where this family is at, in the sense that I think the children that were born before Robyn came into the family are united. And then the ones that Robyn came in with and the ones that she gave birth to afterwards, they are not a part of the core 13. That's my opinion. That's the impression that I get. I also like that Gabrielle checked on his mom and sort of asked her, how are you doing after the separation from dad? And she's at peace. She's at peace. She's understands that this is where she is with this man. And so she's not going to force a relationship with someone who's not interested in having a relationship with her. And I like that she said, I only put up with a lot because you children were young. And the moment he stopped having a relationship with you, that's the moment I decided it was time for me to pack my bags and leave. And so for Kody to say, oh, I don't get why people are saying I'm wrong or I chose my wife. You did. There's evidence of it in video footage of you saying you preferred Robyn to everybody else. And so the idea that you'd suddenly feel like you don't see why everybody doesn't want to have a relationship with you doesn't make sense. Janelle, I think, is at peace because she said she doesn't need the spiritual release and she doesn't need to say she doesn't need, to tell anyone that she's divorcing Kody. She is happy to just keep on and keep moving on. And so it's really sad, I think, for Kody in the sense that he expected his family to sort of be there to sort of beg him and plead with him. And now that they're not doing that, he doesn't know what to do with himself. He really doesn't know because everybody else is moving on with life. They're not concerned or they're not bothered by the fact that he doesn't want anything to do with them. They're not begging him for a relationship, which I think is what he was expecting. And so it's a sad moment for him. I remember Gabrielle saying that Robyn is always sitting and waiting for an opportunity to play victim. And so for her to record this little scene where she's sitting on the floor and she's sort of saying, oh, I miss the family, I miss the life that I dreamed of. I dreamt that I would always be part of polygamy and now not having that is devastating for me. And it's like, buddy, you were involved in the breakdown of this marriage. In the breakdown of these marriages, actually, and in the breakdown of this family. So for you to sit there and play victim, I don't get it. You knew this man had other children and other wives. Yes, they didn't get along, but they were making it work. When you came into the family, instead of asking them, how do we make it work? Where do I fit in? You came in with what you wanted everybody else to abide by, and everybody else was unable to do that. And because they were unable to do that, the husband decided that he wasn't going to maintain his relationships with them, and instead he would maintain a relationship with you. So for you to sit there and start crying because Meri said she's not coming to spend Christmas with you doesn't make any sense. How selfish can you be? How selfish can you be? You've pulled You and this man have pulled Meri along for years, knowing that he was done with her, and made her believe that there was hope and that this marriage was going to be sort of rebirthed or reinvented. And now suddenly you're upset because she doesn't want to come and play Happy Families. Kudos to Meri. I give her credit for not wanting to come and pretend anymore. And sadly, the more Robyn and Kody talk, the more angry they make Meri. And when Meri gets angry, sadly, Meri and Janelle are the ones that have been very loyal to Kody, regardless of him saying they're not loyal. They haven't said anything scandalous or anything to sort of tarnish his reputation. And he continues to go on these tangents. And I can't wait for the moment these women get angry and start revealing every single thing about this man, because he thinks he is the Izzy. And I can't wait for the moment that they show him that actually we've been very kind to you, we've been very loyal, and here we go. And oh, I wanted to get into polygamy. This is not my dream. My dream is broken. Well, maybe you should have worked harder to keep your dream intact before breaking it down. How I feel is, I feel like Robyn expected all the wives to stay. I think she knew that Kody had issues with his wives. I think she knew that the wives had issues amongst themselves, but she was happy for them to stay as long as they continue to support her lifestyle. I'll continue to say this. And the moment they packed bags and left, so did the money, and this is why she's crying. Nothing else. The tears are because the money's gone, not because the women have gone. That's my opinion, and I'll stick to it. Anyway, thanks guys for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And click the link in my video to watch my review from episode 4. Bye guys.